howdy. Howdy neighbor, howdy. Howdy neighbor, howdy. Howdy neighbor, howdy. Howdy neighbor, howdy neighbor, howdy neighbor, howdy neighbor, howdy neighbor, howdy. Howdy neighbor, howdy.
Hey, what's going on, travel fans? It's Ron from RJT Travels, and we are back at it again. We're here at another Sandals property, checking out everything it has to offer, and this time we thought that we should go somewhere extra special. So we went to the actual OG property, the original Sandals, Sandals Montego Bay. So we're going to do a full breakdown and overview of the resort, just like we always do, kind of explain how the resort's laid out, what the different offerings here are at the resort, kind of show you around so that you guys can get a better idea of what's all involved here and decide if you want to come down to Sandals Montego Bay. So stick with us while we break down all things Montego Bay. Alright, so just like every property that we go to, Sandals always has a fun, inspired lobby of some kind. And honestly, this one's pretty big. Looking at Royal Caribbean's, theirs was very, very small. Looking at St. Vincent's, theirs was, I'll say medium, but this is very, very big. So you come into dual waterfalls, which is beautiful. Pictures all over the place. But you just get this big rotunda. So this place is absolutely huge. And of course, you've got your bar right there in the lobby, as you always should. But this one's kind of cool because this one reminds me a little bit of St. Vincent in the fact that the lobby feeds right out to the water. And like St. Vincent, it feeds right out to that main pool, and here it feeds right out to the ocean. So gorgeous views right out the gate. Now it's worth noting here at Montego Bay, it is very, very wide and very, very shallow. And I'll pull the map up here in a second. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. But basically it runs the whole beach line. So there's not this huge behind and forward, you know, like with Royal Bohemian, there were two sides to the resort and everything kind of fed in that center circle. You don't get that here. Here it is very widespread out, and you basically just go left to right. There really is no back and forth. So I'm gonna start out here on the left side because it's very small to the left, and then we're just gonna walk down that way. Now there is things behind the building and in front of the buildings, and I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. So we're gonna go down one way and then come back the next, which is kind of fun. So, starting here in the back, this is actually something that is unique here. I have not seen this on a Sandals property yet, and that is they have an actual Overwater wedding chapel, but they also have this one. This one's actually really pretty, but this one's actually like religious based. It's not just a generic chapel. This one actually has a cross on it. It has stations of the cross on the inside. It is actually more of what I would define as a church, not defined as a chapel. But obviously, chapel being a little bit bigger, or I'm sorry, a little bit smaller than a church. But I'll show you guys the inside here. So, very nice, very simple, but it is like a true religious, not just a normal chapel, but crosses. There's stations of the crosses on the wall, so definitely more religious chapel. And this is also too, if you guys are planning on getting married, your wedding office is right over here in the corner too, so you can meet with the weddings team and start to work out all the different wedding stuff that you guys want to do. And I'll show you too here a little bit because it's on the other side where the Overwater chapel is at this property, so you can kind of get a sense of that. And as you slide right behind that, this is where you'll find your tennis courts and your pickleball courts. So yes, they do have all the courts. Every resort will have these kind of outdoor land activities, so you can definitely kind of peek and see. They've got all the different things here, so you'll always be able to find that. Okay, so as I'm walking over here, like I just showed you guys, there's the tennis courts right there. That's the pickleball courts. I do want to mention, because it is something unique to this property, and a lot of people talk about it, so I do want to address it, kind of why I'm talking to the next thing. And that is that this specific resort literally is across the street from the airport. And when I say literally, I'm gonna like, okay. So you see the second fence right there, where that red building is, right behind it, that is the runway to the airport. So it's literally right there. And you'll see, oh, I forgot we zoomed in, hang on. There we go, okay. So you'll literally see in a little bit, or you'll hear it as we continue to walk around, and if one hits, I'll point it out, but you hear a lot of airplanes coming on this resort. This is definitely everyone taking off, everyone landing, you will hear it. Now, I personally have been on the property for 2 days. It has not ruined or disrupted for me. It's not been like so loud I freak out, but it is noticeable. So that is something a lot of people talk about at this resort, that since you're so close to the airport, while it is nice, it's like a 10-minute drive from the airport to the resort, you also hear all of the airplanes because they land right here. And when you're thinking about Sandals Royal Caribbean, which is that sister property, and if you checked out our other video where you learned that you can do the 2-for-1, and I'll talk about that here in a minute too, the planes literally fly over the resort to land. So here they're already landing, you just kind of hear them landing. At SRC, you actually see them fly over. So that's a, that's a little bit of a thing. But as I'm coming around the corner here, this is the end of the property for Montego Bay, and I'm gonna flip the camera here just to kind of show you. This is what I mean by it's very long and shallow. This is the whole resort. So you'll start here, and then it goes all the way down there, and you can see there's the Overwater bar right there, the wedding chapel's right there, and where that wedding chapel is right there, that is the end of the property. So it runs the beach. So because you're across the street from the airport, you don't really have the depth. You basically have one building worth back there, but it runs very long down the beach. So plenty to see, and this is kind of where we're gonna walk this way. So I started at the entrance, and from the entrance, I made a small left. That's where that wedding chapel is, and then behind it, the tennis court's there, and then basically just walked around the end building to get to the beach side, and now we're on nothing but the beach side. So this kind of gives you an example how shallow it is, and then you get nothing but beach and ocean views now for the rest of the video until we make that last loop to come back towards the lobby here. So it's a very pretty resort. The oceans are beautiful. There's plenty to see here. There's even like walkways down there so you can get even closer view to the ocean. And then of course like your swim up rooms and everything right here. So if you're at Montego Bay, chances are you are getting an ocean view room here. There are very few rooms that would not be an ocean view. None of them are like on the ocean, whereas like I know some of the resorts have that like walk out right onto the beach to the thing, and there are some close down here on the beach, and I'll show you what I mean there. But for the most part, every room here in Montego Bay is going to be some kind of ocean view room, unless you draft one of the few rooms like this is Tokyo Joe's restaurant, and you've got some rooms like right behind it. So instead of staring at a beautiful ocean, you're staring like here, you're staring at the back of a building. So that's kind of one of the perks in Montego Bay. 95% of the rooms are going to be ocean view rooms. They're going to be beautiful here. There's no garden view. There is no other building view. There is no pool view. You're literally, all of them are going to have that ocean view of some kind. So that's really nice to know. And as we kind of come back to, this is your lobby, right back to that bar where we started here a few minutes ago. Now, as I come around, we're finally going to hit the first main pool to Montego Bay. And since this is an older property, this is the original, the pools aren't nearly as big as some of the other modern resorts have. There's no big lazy rivers, there's no big length of the resort pool type like some of the other resorts have, so bear that in mind. But the other nice thing is though, the pools are kind of nice. Like, they're not bad, they're just, don't think of them as super big. So here's the main pool, and it's got your tables, your cabanas just like always, and then your actual pool. Now it's also pool and then jacuzzi back there, so you know, like I said, they're nice pools, nothing wrong with them. You know, obviously it's not bad, it just is something to consider that they are smaller. And there is a couple here on property spread out since it's so wide, so you don't really have like a main pool, if you will. This is kind of like your first pool, what I'll call the main, because it's by the lobby, but there are additional pools as we go down, so there really isn't just one central pool like there is that some of the other resorts have. Like when you think of Royal Bohemian, East Bay and West Bay both have one main pool. This has multiple throughout the property. Now as I come around the corner here, kind of a cute I Heart Sandals sign here. See, I Heart Sandals, Montego Bay, yay! They have like a gaming area, the pool table, ping pong, stuff like that. And this is something that I don't think I've seen, and maybe I'm forgetting something, but they actually have a basketball court at this resort. So you have the Mariner restaurant and then one of your bars, but then you actually have an actual basketball court here, built right into the beach. So it's concrete, so sandals on it, right next to the sand. So that is something I found a little interesting, because I don't think of another resort that has a basketball court on the beach like that. I could be wrong, but I don't really think there is. And then from here, you've also got sand volleyball, and it's just a really long beach. Because again, this is pretty much the strip of your property. Once you hit behind the building, there isn't much back there other than, you know, the beach. But I will show you, because some of the restaurants are tucked back there, but there's really, from an entertainment standpoint, from a being here standpoint, you're pretty much going to be on this side of the building. There's not much on the other side. There you go. Dude just scored on sand volleyball, so there you go. One thing I want to point out here while I'm walking down the beach, show you some of the other stuff here, is that this resort actually has something fun with the ocean front, and that is reservable cabanas that are completely over the water. So these are actually like on posts in the water, and I'll get a different angle because I'm not getting in the ocean to show you this, but there's a whole day bed in there, there's the coolers in there, of course you can get your butler service in there, so you can get everything that you want, but the cool part is you're literally laying over the water. So it's not just a normal cabana that's on the beach like, you know, some of the different chair reservations, you're actually laying over the water. Throughout the property too, since it is so long, you do have these long walkways that have little, I'll call them cabana, chapel looking things across the edge of the water here. So you have ample opportunities to walk out, get into the water a little bit without being swimming. You know, like if you want some ocean pictures and things like that, you've got two different ones right here. I'm gonna walk out on this one. This one's a little bit bigger, but it gives you a nice view of the resort from the water side. Now Montego Bay doesn't have a private island or anything like that, so this is pretty much as deep as you get. And also, while I'm walking out and doing that, they do have something else fun in the water here, and that is they actually have ocean swings. So these are, you can sit in them and actually swing in the ocean, and then down there, and I'll get you a better view here in a little bit, but they have hammocks. Again, you can sit in those. So swings, you can dangle your feet. Hammocks, you can literally lay in the water, read a book, nap, whatever you want to do. But something else unique and fun to do in the ocean part here at Montego Bay. And as I go through this thing of seagulls, hopefully I don't get attacked. There we go. Can walk out to this. And it's very nice, like it's got a nice roof, it's bricked flooring, like this is built very nicely. There's a beautiful view of the ocean, some of the Sandals boats, and the actual Sandals property. You can see all the different hotels, buildings throughout Sandals property. And we're gonna walk down that one too so you can see it, but this is the Overwater bar, and then right behind it is the Overwater chapel. So we're kind of coming up to the other end of the property, but this at least gives you a good view of kind of how wide the property is. You know, you look and that's the end of the buildings down there where we were before, and kind of making our way down to the other side here. All right, so as promised, I got you a little bit of a closer view of the water hammocks. So again, same thing, same concept. You just can sit in it, float in the water, which is kind of cool. And right behind it is Latitudes, the Overwater bar. And I'll walk you down there in a second, but I do want to turn around because it's a really nice sign right here to show you kind of what I'm talking about. this is the other main pool for Sandals, and this is what I said they had 2. So here's kind of this infinity pool, which is really cool. And then they have this actual overwater pool. So you get to go over this bridge. They've got the swim up bar, just like, well, every other Sandals in the world. But this is their other main pool. Again, not big. It is rather small, like you can see on this side. It's the swim up bar side, and then the normal pool side on the other. But you don't really get anything big. And then this is where I said 90% of the rooms you can get ocean view. They're closed right now, but this is one of the other buildings you can get. And this one's kind of off to the back, so it's a lot harder to get an ocean view back here. These, like I said, these are all closed. They're getting remodeled. Otherwise, I'd actually take you up to it. But this is the one building back here that you could potentially not have an ocean view to. But otherwise, your ocean view on this property, no matter what you get. So, something kind of cool. This is, if I had to define a main pool, I'd say it's this one down here. Yes, it's the other end of the property, but this one has the swim up bar, the jerk shack right next to it, all the different stuff to it. So this is what I would look at for your main pool on property. Okay, we're kind of coming to the other end of the property now, so you can kind of see the other end of it. There's more of the swim up pools rooms over here. There's a lot of those on this property, a lot of swim up. And here's Latitudes. And so I told you I'd walk you out over Latitudes. Latitudes is cool. It's very simple. I mean, this isn't something that I'm like, oh my God, like this is the coolest part of Sandals. Gotta try it. But it is nice, I'll say that. Before you get there, they have these couches and they have bonfires that they light each evening. So if you want to sit by an open fire and gaze out over the ocean, these are comfortable chairs to do that in. It's like its own little couch thing, which is kind of nice. And then Latitudes. So over ocean bar, very simple. Literally, it's just a bar at the ocean. They do have some couches here, and this is fun. I did one of these earlier, and they're a little trippy, but they're kind of unique. They're like overwater hammocks, but they're double hammocks, so you don't sink, you don't get wet in them. Like I'm gonna go out on one, but yeah, there we go. So, can't really, yeah, there we go. So, you could stand on one of these things, or you can lay on one of these things, stare out over the ocean. You can kind of hear the water rumble underneath, but it's something different, you know, it's something unique to do. So go to Latitudes, get a drink, and then come out here on one of these hammock things and hang out over the ocean. And they're all over the place. Like there's like 6 or 7 of them around. So you kind of see. And of course, some gorgeous ocean views. And then another one of those cabanas that I talked about there, and you can see the candles for the private dinners. If you want to do a private candlelit dinner, you can do it on the beach, or here, you can do it on one of those walkouts over the ocean and have an even more intimate private candlelit dinner. So that's pretty much it from this side. So we're gonna go down and hit the wedding chapel now and show you guys the Overwater chapel on the complete other end of Montego Bay property. Okay, so we reached the other end of the resort here, and this last building is all suites. It's all butler suites. It's all swim up suites. So this is like more private, more nice. I mean, they're very nice, but there's Latitudes to kind of point you out of where we're at. Another one of those walkouts, and then they have one more walkout on literally the very edge of the property. I'm gonna zoom in. That wall right there is the end of Sandals property. So we made, oh, well here, you can kind of hear it in the background. That would be a plane landing. See, I told you I'd point one out if I could, if it happened while I was filming, I'd point it out. So that is a plane landing behind us. So I don't know how well it came out on the mic, but it's noisy enough you notice it. But I personally don't think noisy enough to ruin anything. Just kind of one of those, you know, you get used to it kind of thing. But as I kind of make my way out here, oh, now you can hear one taking off too. So there's like 2 back-to-back that time. It is a beautiful view. from this corner here. But this is actually the Overwater Wedding Chapel. I'm gonna step out here so you can see this. There we go, Sandals. Oh, there we go, Overwater Wedding Chapel. Now, this one, it does look a lot like the others. I don't think there's seen them one, you've seen them all kind of thing. This one is smaller. I think, I don't know the exact dimensions, but I would be willing to guess that Royal Bohemian and Vincent's are both a little bit bigger, but they do have the glass flooring in them, and you know, the nice thing. Now the one thing that is different here, because the other resorts don't have this, oh, and those are locked, we gotta go around, is the fencing in the back is actually open. So if you're standing here doing your thing, there's no fence in the door. And I think that's kind of cool if somebody thought of that. So you do get the true ocean view. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, hang on here, I'm gonna kind of walk around. There we go. So there's like this big gap in the fencing here in the back. So hopefully you don't go, oh, here, let me lean up on the fence, and oh, wait, there's no fence, crap. There's a back half of the chapel. But again, beautiful ocean views on it. You've seen one, you've seen them all kind of thing. It's more or less the environment that you want around it. Montego Bay is very nice. It's spread out a little bit more. The buildings allow you a little bit more privacy. So if you're trying to get married and do your honeymoon, Montego Bay would probably be better suited for you if you're doing a small wedding. If you're doing a 10, 20 person wedding, you're not looking to go anything crazy. You know, Royal Bohemian can hold a lot bigger, and I did a whole video on their wedding thing there. But if I was recommending Montego Bay for a wedding, I would be saying 10, 20 person wedding. Keep it small, keep it light, and plan on having a good time, because this is not a mega property by any stretch. So this is pretty much the whole strip. I'm gonna go around to the back here because there is a couple of restaurants, and I do want to show you guys Red Lane Spa, and that's all on the back sides here. So bear with me for like another minute. We're gonna make our way back around the buildings, kind of walk back up towards the front there, and that's where you see the last of the property here from Montego Bay. Okay, so we made it to the back of the property here. We're kind of coming around the corner. So on the right side will be your beach. That's where we just were. So now we're kind of walking back towards the lobby on the back half. While I walk through, I did want to show, because this is such a cool random aesthetic, they actually stamped leaves into the ground. So every sidewalk step has some kind of leaf stamped in it. So as you're walking, you're kind of like walking on leaves. And I thought that was so random, but yet kind of cool. I don't know, not really pertinent to a vacation, but kind of something unique aesthetic wise in the property. So making my way back, as I said, this is a very wide property. So if you're on that end, you are decently far from everything on property. And that's kind of a caveat. Like if you are going to do those butler suites in the corner, you know, I'm walking from those buildings, and now I'm just hitting the jerk shack and the main pool that I showed you a little bit ago with the swim up bar and stuff on it. So, I mean, it's not like you're a million miles away, but it also isn't like with some of the properties, you walk right out the door. You know, St. Vincent, you walk out the door, boom, you hit pools right there. Royal Bohemian, walk right out the door, boom, you're at a pool right there, and all your restaurants right there. Here, it's not like that. You are a very wide stretch. So, just kind of pointing out different layout of stuff here, and hopefully it helps understand here. So as we come around the corner, we're kind of hitting the other part of what I'll call the civilization stretch, and they actually have a croquet club, and they have croquets and all the mallets and everything you need if you guys want to play croquet while you're here. And then as we get right past that, we hit the Red Lane Spa. So there we go, Red Lane Spa. So as you come back here, it's kind of tucked away a little bit, which is nice. Nothing crazy, and I don't want to go in the spa because I don't want to bother anybody, you know, any of the guests or any of the people there, but I mean, it's a spa. So there's a little look at it. But right behind the spa here, they do have, like every spa has like their relaxing pool center. here's your spa pool. And they play nice soft music. So nice and peaceful. And they do have your private massage rooms all over there. And one other thing that they have here for this spa outdoors here is they actually have steam rooms. And they make you separate by gender. So they have a ladies' steam room and they have a men's steam room. And then of course they also have a sauna. So you can go into there, that's the sauna, and then behind me are the steam rooms. So Red Lane Spa's here. It's a nice compact area, but I feel like all the Red Lanes are. You know, St. Vincent was a little unique because of how big it was, or how new it is that they made it a little bit bigger, but like Royal Bohemian's in the basement there. So nothing huge. And then right behind Red Lane, which almost makes it look like it's part of Red Lane, but it is separate, is they have their gym. I'm just making sure there's nobody in here so I don't bother anybody on a workout. But then they have a gym. Oh, nice and air conditioned in here. All your basic machines. No, it's not Royal Bohemian where it's a penthouse gym and you get that awesome view. You are on the ground and you're kind of behind Red Lane Spa. So you're pretty much staring at the back of buildings or you're staring at the construction zone over here. So nothing really great to look at here. They do have TVs and stuff like a regular gym, and of course they have the water and everything else. So, I mean, if you're here to get a workout, they do a nice job. It is a nice gym. No, the views aren't as pretty as like Royal Bohemian is, but it still is a nice gym to do a workout in if that's what you guys are looking for. So I'm gonna come around the corner, we're gonna catch the last little bit, and you've pretty much seen the whole Montego Bay, so stick with me for the ending. Okay, so coming up to the last little bit of Montego Bay is a couple of restaurants tucked back here behind, and this is Soy. So if you guys are sushi fans, that'll be the restaurant to hit. There is a private bar back there too, just cool. And I want to point out, they have one random thing here. And when I say random, I mean it is just so totally random. But yet, like, me and my wife used it, and we're like, this is kind of cool. Tucked back here in the middle of the foliage in the back is a random jacuzzi. So you come up here and there's just a private random jacuzzi. So if you're wanting a little bit more privacy, if you're not wanting to be on the beach or at the pool with all the other people, come check this one out in the back. It's behind the first building here. It's like the 500, 600 rooms. Right here in the front. The next building is the lobby, so it's kind of right to the front, but it's really just hidden away in the corner right before you hit Soy and hit Butch's, which if you've never been to Butch's, or if you're planning to go to a property that has a Butch's, I 1000% recommend you go to Butch's. It is my favorite restaurant in the Sandals chain. If the resort has it, I am absolutely going to go visit it, eat at it at least once or twice. Unfortunately, it's just a weekend trip for me here. It's a couple of days just to get the filming done, check out the resort, so I can only do it once, but don't skip on Butch's. Amazing steaks, great seafood, and it's a great idea concept for the Sandals chain. But as we wrap up here, I want to show you one last thing that is totally random, but also something I have not seen on a property yet, and that is they have birds. They have actual, real-life birds. And there's two of them here. I don't know their names. I don't have any info. I wish they had like a card hanging up that like, hey, this is Susie and this is Suzette or, you know, whatever. But they don't show the names. But yeah, they have actual birds here on. Say hi. Hi, guys. What a cool but totally random thing. And they're tucked way in the back here. You can see the, as I turn, like you can see the Butch's sign right behind me. And, but they're tucked back there. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the whole resort. Like I said, it's a very wide resort. Now, Montego Bay is the oldest resort in the Sandals chain. It is the OG Sandals. So when you're looking at resorts, when you're looking at properties and looking at price, Montego Bay is going to be a more economically friendly resort. And that's mainly due to the fact that it's an older resort. There are some amenities that they've done better over time. There are some things that have improved at different properties. But don't write off Montego Bay. Montego Bay is a great resort. It's very nice. The staff is very friendly. I've had nothing but good results with the food and all the different restaurants, so I don't write it off. Some people will talk, oh, I don't like Montego Bay, oh, it's the old one, oh, it's not. But keep this in mind. There's always going to be people that love this resort. There's always going to be people that hate this resort. Sandals is what you make it. It is built to be that way. If you're a foodie, hit every restaurant on property twice, try everything on every menu, and eat till you can't eat anymore. If you're a drinker, there's plenty of bars. It's all you can drink alcohol, all you can enjoy. Try all the different cocktails. If you're somebody who does the swimming or likes doing, all the different activities, then go hit the pools, hit the oceans. If you're somebody who wants to sit in the room in the air conditioning and do nothing but want to do it in Jamaica, well then hell, stay and do it in Jamaica. But Sandals is exactly that. It is make it your own. It is made to be whatever you want it to be. So don't let anybody, myself included, tell you not to go to a property or to go to a property. Everybody's going to make it their own. So Montego Bay is an older property, yes. It is a wide property, yes. So there are some pluses and minuses, but that's with every resort. And this is why using a travel agent is so important. I'm actually on resort right now, learning all these different things. So when you call me and say, hey, Ron, I want to go to Montego Bay, I have that expertise and that knowledge firsthand to answer those questions. I've been to multiple properties now. We've got more on the books coming up for end of this year, early next year already. So there is not anything that we're not doing. RJT Travels is a certified elite advisor with Sandals. We are a certified travel agency with Sandals, so we can sell anything on the chain. We do weddings, honeymoons, destination proposals even. We do random vacations, group outings, you name it, we've done it. We have that expertise. So if you are thinking about doing a Sandals property, this one or any of the others, reach out to us, let us know, rjttravels.com. Hit us up on any of our social media channels. We'd love to get you here. So I hope this helped. I hope it gave you a little bit of a view of the Montego Bay Resort and understand a little bit of what's here. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment below. Love to answer any of the questions. And as always, until next time, guys, thanks and happy travels.